How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great day. And this is Bungle, and today we're going to be talking about the Rank 7 and the MiG-23M that is coming into War Thunder. Now, first off, let's start off with the Rank 7. So this has been a lot of speculation from a lot of the player base, leaks and all that hey, Rank 7 is coming. And as you can tell right away, that Gaijin came out today on the 21st of May and said, hey, Rank 7's coming. With the current update that's going to come out, the new patch, Red Skies, they're going to introduce a new top tier, Tier 7, right? Rank 7. And they're going to expand the battle ratings to 10.0. So what they're going to do, and this is kind of a lazy approach, and part of me is like, this is kind of really lame to do this. Like, honestly, they should have just added, like, Rank 7 vehicles. So a Rank 7 vehicle would be, of course, the MiG-23, and then possibly, if they decided to add the Tomcat, the F-14 Tomcat. Now, however, instead of doing that, Gaijin's going to go and take the vehicles that are already in the game that are at certain ranks. So as you can see here with the chart, we got the F4E Phantom that we're moving up from rank 6 to rank 7, and this is the F4E Phantom 2. You can see with the A72, it's going to be moved after the AV8C from rank 6 to rank 7. So as you go down this chart, you can tell, and kind of premium ones that you should keep an eye on, is of course the Yak-38, which is a premium, is going to be moved from rank 5 to rank 6. So if you're using that aircraft, that's going to be used for premium grinding and all that. You can go and grind rank 7 in the MiG-23 using the Yak-38. Same thing with the Harrier GR1. It's going to be moved from rank 5 to rank 6, and that will be good for grinding out rank 7 British aircraft as well. Same with the AV-8A, which is the US Harrier 9.3, going to get moved from rank 5 to rank 6. Now, the question is this going to affect battle rating and all that? As of right now, the AV-8A, which is the American Harrier, is 9.3 for realistic. That's the only game mode that most players play. If you play arcade with these, hats off to you, but I don't. Harrier GR1, that's right now a 10.0. That's going to be a rank 6, and the reason it's 10.0 is all the controversy of it when it got released. I think it was a 9.0 or something like that. It was clubbing everything with the SRAMs. So they decided to move it up all the way to 10.0, where it's kind of useless in my opinion. And the Yak-38 is a 9.3, and that of all the three of those premiums right now, the strongest one, of course, I feel is the AV-8A, just because it gets AIM-9Es, and at a 9.3 battle rating, it's pretty solid for a Harrier platform. But the question is going to rise, okay, so they're going to move these vehicles, they're going to add 11.0, right? So how is it going to affect the battle ratings of those premiums that I just mentioned, as well as the other vehicles coming to the game, right? We can speculate here all we want, but as a precedent for newer viewers to this channel or players that have been playing this game and everything, we all know that Gaijin likes to move around the battle rating and characteristics of a premium vehicle. This is not World of Tanks, and where you buy a vehicle and it's going to really stay the same. And so basically, in short, if you're going to go and buy a premium vehicle, tank, ship, or plane in War Thunder, it doesn't work like wargaming. So it either can get nerfed or it can get buffed, it can get moved up a battle rating, it can get moved down a battle rating. So keep this in mind when you're going and pre-ordering, let's say, the upcoming packs. And if you're unfamiliar or you haven't really been paying attention, they're offering the F5C, which is going to be roughly, I foresee this being like a 10.7 aircraft or something like that, or even a 10.0. And then they have a Russian equivalent of it. I think it's a Su-17 or whatever. And that aircraft is more of a ground attack variant. So when you go and purchase this or have this in mind, like, keep in mind the aircraft, even when they do the dev server and all that, it's going to change, right? And there's a lot of things that Gaijin's done, and I can attest to it, and pretty sure people have been playing for a year or so can attest to the GR1, the Harrier GR1, and you can look at my old review that I did on it, where it was a 9.3, then it got moved to 9.7, then it got up to 10.0, where it was completely kind of useless now. You can't even use it. So what Gaijin tends to do is, if you have an overpowered vehicle, they release it, they collect a lot of money on it, and then after the community starts complaining about it, saying, hey, this thing's broken, you should probably do something about it, then they go ahead and move it up to an appropriate tier. And, personally, is this a right practice? No. But Gaijin gets away with it or Thunder gets away with it, because at the end of the day, they make money, right? And a common thing is if people are donating money, throwing money to the game, and the game's still running despite making poor pro-consumer choices like that, then yeah, it's going to go and they're still going to do what they're going to do. So that's why I'm kind of giving this disclaimer that, hey, if you're looking at pre-ordering any premiums or looking at these vehicles, like I mentioned, the Yak-38 Harrier GR1 and the AV-8A, just keep in mind that they're going to probably get subject to change with the battle ratings and all that because of this whole rank 7 aviation. And another factor with it too is, BR compression, right? And if you're unfamiliar with BR compression, it's kind of a lame excuse too with kind of how Gaijin does it, but basically, your battle rating system, how it's supposed to work is you face up at 1.0 higher than your battle rating and 1.0 less than your battle rating. And the BR compression, from my understanding, is that, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, or a thumbs down the video so that the thumbs up and down button are working, is that basically if I'm a 10.7, right, if I'm a Phantom, and I'm going to use the Harrier GR1 in this case, right, it's going to go and try to pull as many vehicles at that BR to close to 10.7 or whatever to make its own game mode, right? The 10.7 isn't going to go all the way down to a 9.7 jet like the 80s. Well, I believe the 8070 used to be 9.7 and they moved it up. It's not going to try to pull that much from 9.7. It's going to try to create as many games as possible with 10.7 and close to 10.7 as possible vehicles, right? So that's why if you play the Hunter GR1, you majority of the time get stuck in 10.7 matches because of the BR compression, right? And the reason they do that is because the 10.7 vehicles, and this can even be with tanks and everything like that, are just too powerful to compete with a 1.0 less vehicle, right? So that's kind of the issue with the BR compression, and I'm going to be interested to see how this works with 11.0 jets. I could definitely see a BR compression going on with that. But then again, right, they're alleging that they're going to move the Phantom, right, there's already a 10.7 or whatever, to rank 7, and they're going to rebalance with this 11.0 stuff. The Harrier GR1 may get better matchmaking or may get put to 10.3, and then, still same thing, BR compression going on. And that's another thing you got to look at when you're pre-ordering the vehicles, right? I probably would say right now the Russian, SU-17 or whatever, is going to get better matchmaking than the F5C. And the reason why is the F5C, if you look at the Chinese version of it, things like F5A or whatever, that's a 10.7. And I know it's getting AIM-9Es and all that, but knowing how Gaijin works, right, this vehicle is either going to be a 10.3 or 10.7. It's going to get gimped and facing 11.0 jets. So unless you're really good at high tier or you know what you're doing or you've been playing this game for a hot minute, keep that in mind when you're pre-ordering these vehicles. Me personally, I'm probably just going to go and stick with the Harrier just because it's kind of reliable. I can ground pound with the American Harrier, and I can also dogfight with it as well if I want to. But usually I ground pound and then I dogfight when necessary. That's how I work with making my money with it. Now moving on, we're going to talk about the MiG-23 Jetfire, the USSR Rank 7, alright? So this is probably going to be your 11.0. I know battle ratings aren't really official yet, and dev server's probably coming out later today, tomorrow, whatever, so you can go. I'm not a big YouTuber, so I'm not going to have access to all that. So, recommend checking out other YouTubers like Sonar Chief, the European Canadian, like those influencers that are big and they get the access to see everything that's going on. Definitely, I think Sonar Chief will kind of give you the bottom line up front on how he feels about these vehicles. But basically, this is probably going to be your 11.0 pros. It's going to have the best maximum speed in the game. So this is probably going to be a really quick interceptor, and be funny enough that this gets an air spawn. Probably going to be on the airfield and take off and all that. Infrared search and track, all right? So you got to get used to, if you haven't played high tier, it's a whole gimmick with using radar missiles. Radar missiles can work. It's just you got to get used to mapping the keys, pressing the right buttons, and using it when appropriate, and definitely launching it based on the vector of the aircraft. If you kind of just launch it, dumbfire it, sometimes it won't work. You got to go and lead the missiles a little bit, and it's kind of an art and skill with doing it as well. And long range R-23T missiles. So basically, this is probably going to be like the F4 with the long range missiles. If you've played high tier, you're probably been killed by an F4 from like beyond visual range. You're just flying and you just get nailed by a AIM-9J or whatever, and you're like, how the heck did that hit me? Right, so it's probably going to work the same way. You're probably going to get nailed from a longer range if you're flying straight, so it's usually kind of nice to maneuver your aircraft here and there, trying to throw the missile off. Now it's going to have a limited number of weapons just due to the hard points on the aircraft, right? So we can see this in the War Thunder image that they have of it flying around. It looks like it's got roughly 6 hard points, or yeah, it looks like 6 hard points. So it's probably going to carry 6, kind of like how the Phantom does. The Phantom, I believe, carries 4 long-range air-to-air missiles, and then it carries 4 kind of short-range missiles. So, like I said, the infrared radar missiles, they kind of, it's a gimmick, right? You got to learn how to master it, and once you do, you'll start seeing dividends pay off. But for new players and stuff like that, it's going to take a hard time to kind of get used to that. So definitely work your way up. Don't free XP your way to this tier. Definitely learn the skill, because it's definitely a total different skill set compared to when you're playing with the prop planes. And that's kind of attested to, I think pilots even in World War II said when they started getting into jet aircraft towards the end of the war with the ME-262 and B-17s and all that, even the German pilots flying the ME-262 realized that it was a different kind of art style to flying jet-powered aircraft than it was propellered prop aircraft. So yeah, you'll learn that too as you play the game. So basically I got the images popped up here so you can kind of see the MiG-23 kind of just what Gaijin's working on. And basically, like I said, this is going to be a 10-7. I feel it's going to be definitely kind of like a Phantom-like aircraft to play against. Be very quick and all that. You can see it's a swept wing design too, so it can extend its wings and retract them as well, so that's pretty interesting. I know a lot of people are trying to hype up for the Tomcat, and personally, if they release a Tomcat, cool. But like I said, I want to keep your hopes up. I mean, if they release it, awesome. If they don't, oh well, it'll probably be coming in another patch. Now, the problem is, too, is at the end of the day, all right, F-14, A-10, and all that, you got to keep in mind the cons of these aircraft as well. Like, A-10 especially, I know everyone, wants to see it in ground forces, but keep in mind that aircraft is, slow. I think it's below 1,000 miles per hour or something. You can correct me in the comments, but definitely see that aircraft getting, like, destroyed right away by SPAA, taken out by super prop aircraft and everything, like, taken out by tank machine guns and all that. Just, you got to keep your expectations low, especially when they add aircraft in the game, because you may think it might act like, oh, in real life it did this, or in Operation Desert Storm and everything like that, or in Iraq, the A-10 just tore open Iraqi tanks and all that, but in War Thunder, it's probably going to act a little differently, right? So just keep that grain of salt in mind, and not trying to dissuade people's expectations or hopes, but you got to be a little realistic here with how Gaijin models their vehicles, how the game kind of works, and everything like that. So just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, it's just a game. So if you reach this point of the video, appreciate sticking around. If you're a subscriber, thanks for watching my video. Please comment down below on future content, suggestions, etc. If you're new to the channel and you reach this point, consider subscribing today. Give a thumbs up or thumbs down. Just make sure my thumbs up or thumbs down buttons are working. I know there's one subscriber who likes to hit that thumb down button, so I appreciate whoever's doing that. Thank you. And other than that, I hope you all have a great day and take care.